shadows crawling in the bright daylight, voices twisted, feeding us the blight, telling stories that were never true. We fight to break on through. Lies are woven like a velvet chain, slick with power driving us insane. But the fire burns deep within our chests. We fight, we'll never rest. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we'll never rest. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we make our mark. They call us rebels, say we've lost our way, but freedom's blood, it fuels the fray. From the ashes comes a brighter light. We fight with all our might. See resolve in the roaring storm, breaking cages will rewrite the norm. No more silence, no more disguise. We fight with open eyes. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we'll never rest. We rise with fists clenched high, tearing through the veil, the sky. Truth's a blade that cuts the dark. We fight, we make our mark. We fight, we make our mark.
So it's great to be with you, but I'm kind of upset at you. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to get back the brain cells you made me lose by listening to that MSNBC panel right before I came on here, okay? And like, I got to say something about that, okay? I pulled some numbers here because they're talking about this extreme gerrymandering. They're so mad in Texas, and one of these morons on MSNBC actually said, well, the congressional map should be mirror sort of the voting percentages in the state. So I pulled the numbers while he was talking here. Read this real quick. California, Republicans make up 40% of the vote. They get 17% of the seats because they never talk about it when the Democrats do this. Never a word. It's only Republicans. Okay, Massachusetts, Republicans make up 35% of the vote. They get 0 congressional representation. Connecticut, Republicans are 38%. They get 0 seats. New York, 42% of the vote is Republican. They get 26 seats, percentage of the seats. Maryland, Republicans are 38% of the vote. Republicans get 12% of the seats. New Mexico, 44% of the votes Republican, 0 congressional seats. I could go on for pages here. Okay, so like America needs to know.
Hang on. I just brought it. Yeah, I just brought it with DeGrasse. All of New England.
Yeah.
All the states. I think the average is 40%, 38 to 40% of Republicans. There's not one Republican in the entire congressional delegation of the entire New England. Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut.
A little bit of a double standard, huh? That's crazy. Oh man, I love when you actually research, you find out just how blatant the hypocrisy goes. But that's all right. You guys know it. I know it. That's not what we're here for tonight. Welcome tonight to another nightly live ACE report. We're going to go over stuff today. Slow news day. I got to say, there's some interesting stuff we're going to talk about, but overall pretty slow. So I decided to switch it up tonight. And I fooled around with the new ChatGPT 5, which is incredible. I don't know how many of you guys are using AI yet, but it's incredible. And so I wanted to show you some of the very interesting things that I got out of it. And so we're going to get into that as well as other news for today. And we're going to have a good time. But before we get started, please, guys, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you. We had an interesting members live last night. And this is going to go in the theme, go along with what we talked about last night. So if you missed last night's members live, you might want to go back and watch. It was all about how I am able to see the world in a way and future in a way it's why I'm optimistic, why I'm positive about where we're heading, and among so many other things that I keep seeing happening. But it's why I'm intrinsically have that positivity in me. And then I just see stuff like what we're going to talk about tonight, and it just gets me amped up. And no sound is anybody else having that issue with no sound? I got a comment from YouTube: censors are free speech. That's a new one. Haven't heard that one before. He says there's no sound. You might need to refresh because I'm not hearing anybody else complain. But if that's an issue, by the way, my stream looks terrible tonight. We might have to get out of Rumble Studio again because it's getting worse. But anyways, all right. Well, let's say hey to some peeps up here. What's going on? It's midnight, so I know not everybody's up tonight, but that's all right. What's going on? US One Tahoe, Wagga Waco. What's up? AJ Trader. How's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. Donna, JJ Jackson, what's up? Toe Cramp, Troy Man, CJ Yukon, what's up? Scott Volkovich, Peter Joy, James Lee, what's going on? Cat Sync, Lucid, how are you, Lucid? Lucid, I'm going to get back to you on that. Thank you for expressing your heart on that comment you left me. I will definitely get back to you. Linda Telly, what's going on? Pedro Rod, Moody, Stony Bones, XRP blowing up right now. Donna, close your eyes, you can sleep. And Brett, can I ask AI why Pritzker is such a douchebag? How many Big Macs he eats monthly? I don't know if that could be private information that's not allowed to get out there. It could ruin his run for president. AZ Tropic watching over on Rumble. What's up, my Rumble peeps? Be sure to say what's up if you're checking it out. I know less people chat on Rumble. That's all right. And if you're watching on an X, if you don't mind giving it a repost. All right, guys, let's get into it. So, like I said, I wanted to do something different tonight because the news is kind of slow today. There's some Russia hoax stuff going on. There's some gerrymander stuff going on. But the big thing that Trump dropped today was the fact that he wants to redo the census. Now, this could be huge because, listen, if they want to redo the census halfway through, we all know, and he will do it without counting illegals. He writes right here, I've instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gained from the presidential election of 24. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this is going to be something hard to pull off. You can bet the Democrats and everybody are going to fight him hard on this, and the Republicans might not even fall in line. They might be too weak to do this. But if they do, if Trump pulls this off, it will be just a massive force forward towards eliminating Democrat control or any chance they have of getting back in charge of our country anytime soon. With this current version of the Democratic Party, that's extreme left, basically bunch of communists. That's just, the census will rock that. And when you add it on top of what it'll do to with this gerrymandering they're about to perform in Texas and Florida. I mean, look at this. This is based on 2030. Predictions for 2030, okay, based on the movement between the states and not counting illegals. You see Florida and Texas both gaining 4, California and New York losing 3 and 2. So for a total of 10 plus 10 for Republicans, minus 9 for Democrats, and then 1 less toss-up. So a gain of 10 for Republican seats in the House, but that's not just seats, it's also electoral college votes. So that is, where the Republicans completely rocked in this last election, this locks it in even more. So if Trump can pull this off, it's absolutely huge. And then you add into what we might do with redistricting this year, where Florida could add 5. Texas is probably going to add 5 very soon here. Ohio is almost definitely going to add 2. Indiana might squeeze 1 or 2 out, and Missouri as well. And then if California can somehow do it, they'll pull off maybe a +5. But in reality, it's pretty unlikely California is going to be able to do that. So we're looking at a possibility, this is even before a new census, of a new map looking like this. All right, which would absolutely just put us in a new stratosphere. So what I did is I went to ChatGPT today, with 5 released, and I work with AI a lot. And so I wanted to forecast what this could all do to the Democrats. So I fed ChatGPT the information it needed to know in order for this, and I decided to put this together. And I asked it to do a deep dive report, and I wanted it to explain to me the history of gerrymandering, because the Democrats are trying to blame it on Republicans, say that only Republicans play dirty. They always do that, but that's why I played the clip in the beginning, so you guys know that for sure that the Democrats definitely they do this. Like all of New England basically has 1 seat for Republicans. We're talking multiple states with high populace. Anyways, so real quick, we'll start with the brief history of gerrymandering. The term gerrymander dates back to 1812, when Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry approved a state senate district so oddly shaped it resembled a salamander. A political cartoon labeled it the gerrymander, and the name stuck. So 213 years ago, gerrymandering started in the United States. So this is not a new phenomenon. It is it's actually a time-honored United States American tradition. So early use, both parties engaged in a practice whenever they controlled the maps. Modern evolution, advances in voter data and mapping software have turned gerrymandering into a surgical science, allowing politicians to split neighborhoods and city blocks to maximize partisan advantage. Key tactics: they pack it, concentrate opposition voters. Cracking, split opposition voters. Geography's role: Democrats tend to live in dense urban areas. Republicans are more spread out. So even under fair maps, this clustering naturally advantages the GOP. So here we are on the current playing field. While the media often frames gerrymandering as a Republican advantage, remember, this is ChatGPT saying this, okay, not me. Democrats also hold significant map power in blue states. By the way, ChatGPT 5 is awesome. Grok 4 is awesome. This new AI tools, if you guys aren't playing around with AI, it's unbelievable. You have to fact check it. You have to correct it on some things. You have to double check everything that comes out of it. But the way it's been put together, these reports and stuff now, is unfreaking believable. How fast it comes out, and it's getting more and more accurate. It's just incredible. So, and props to what they're doing. It's crazy, but I'm going to get into that after this. Also, just kind of the impacts of where we're headed, at least economically, with everything going on right now, which includes AI. But so while the media often frames gerrymandering as a Republican advantage, Democrats also hold significant map power in blue states. Examples: Massachusetts, 9 seats, all Democrat, despite Republicans get about 35% of the statewide vote. Maryland, 8 seats, 7 Democrat, 1 GOP. Illinois, 17 seats, 14 Democrats, where a fair map would likely give it 5 to 6 seats. Illinois is like 52, 53% Democrat. So it's almost 50-50, and it's 14-3 Democrats, Republicans there. New York, the courts blocked an attempted 22-4 Democratic map they tried to gerrymander, but it's still like 19-7. It's still extremely Democratic favored, but they were so egregious with the gerrymandering, it got blocked. And then California uses a commission, but the final product strongly favors Democrats. It's very high. I think there's 7 or 8 GOP in California. So this is what we're looking at with the gains. I already talked about this. So we're looking at 12 to 13 GOP seats possible just from this redistricting if they go through with it, which I think at least Texas and Ohio will. So that's at least 7 more. But DeSantis is already talking about doing it in Florida, and then Missouri and Indiana I've talked about a little bit. Now, if you add the census excluding undocumented immigrants, now this is the part where ChatGPT doesn't like to talk about this stuff. Remember, it's a little lefty still. So instead of being like really favorable towards GOP, it says like, well, maybe 0 to +5. So we'll say about +3. Well, then you throw in the fact that the Supreme Court is about to hear a case on race-based districting. So if they overturn this, we're looking at another GOP gain between 2 to 6. It estimates with maybe 4. So here's what we're looking at combined total gains. Okay. A low estimate of 12 to 14 total, and then a high estimate of 24. Now, you got to think that because of the gerrymandering, okay, because of the way these seats are going to be apportioned and kind of locked in, these seats are not going to be competitive, the vast majority of them. And we're looking at a country that just swung right big time. I think Trump swung every county in the whole United States red, except for like 3 or 4. We're talking 2,000 plus counties, almost 3,000 counties, all swung to the right in 24. So that's the trend of our country. And these would already be safe seats. So you're looking at a GOP House advantage of anywhere from 235 seats just baked in, which means that the Democrats are going to be at around 200 or so for a long time. And that's if these 3 things go through. But even if not, it could be baked in. So in other words, it won't be competitive. But listen to this. Why this could last: geographic advantage. Democrats' urban concentration results in wasted votes in ultra-safe districts. Map durability. Once drawn, congressional maps often last until the next census unless overturned in court. Control state legislatures. GOP dominates in many growing states, allowing repeated map refinements. Implications: structural advantage, a consistent double-digit GOP edge in the House, even in closely split national votes. Reduced competition, fewer swing districts, more safe Republican seats. Democratic strategy pressure. Party would need to moderate. Here you go. This is what they have to do. Party would need to moderate to compete and reconfigure districts or risk being locked out of the House control for multiple cycles. Well, friends, have we seen any sign of the Democrats getting ready to moderate? Absolutely not. They are holding on deep to their ways. And here's a little graph it made for me, which is pretty awesome, I gotta admit. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna go to, there's sources. All right. But anyways, this is pretty cool. So here's the current 220 to 215, and that's the projection. And that's what the midterms coming up. So in other words, guys, this is if Trump pulls these things off, this could end up being the end of the Democratic Party as we know it, because they will be fully locked out of power unless they significantly change, which, as they are right now, that's going to take a very long time because they are just embedded with crazies. So, and obviously stuff has to happen to make this go forward, but this is what Trump's doing, along with weeding out the corruption, along with making so many policy changes, along with calling out the Democrats for their crap, along with destroying the media's narratives. He is also putting in place, showing us that if we fight the way they fight, they're done. They've been holding on. The fact it's even close is because of their gerrymandering. Like they rigged the system to keep it even close. And that's what we're finding out as we go through this. I mean, you saw the stuff the stuff we got to do. It's a census without counting illegal immigrants. Why are we counting illegal immigrants anyways? That's insane that we count them towards proportioning out our House seats and our electoral college. Getting rid of race-based districting. We're not allowed to define anything else by race. We're not allowed to discriminate by race, except we can choose House representatives based on that. That's sick. So we got to get rid of that. That's just cheating, number 2. And then number 3 is they have already gerrymandered all their states to the point there's like no GOP advantage in those states. They've basically stolen seats. And now we're like, okay, we'll just do it back. It's legal. We can do it. We'll fight back. That's all the GOP's doing. That's all Trump's doing, is basically resetting the stage and fighting back the same way. And it's going to be, I mean, it's just absolutely going to demolish them. Friends, the Democrats are so incredibly weak. It's mind-boggling. CNBC just put out a new poll today on the Democrats' numbers. Their approval right now is 22%. 22%. That's a new poll by CNBC. And we're talking, these are left skewing polls usually. So they're scrambling, and America honestly can't stand them. Their own party can't stand them because most of Americans think they're crazy. And then the people who still vote blue, they think they're weak. So nobody likes them anymore. It's unbelievable. All right, let me catch up with some of these comments. YouTube censors are free speech. Says, watching from London, we love Trump. I love it. And also love your name. YouTube censors free speech. That's great. That's great. They're always shadow banning my channel. So Stony Bone says, today they allowed 401ks to hold crypto. Everything just changed. Oh yeah, that is a big story actually. Stop the Gerrymandering, says Brett. Kim Wiley, what's going on? Toe Cramp says, I've had ChatGPT write me a handful of very complex programming functions, had to point out some oversights, but it fixed them right away, saved me hours. Yeah, that's crazy. Brett says, you're saying ChatGPT is racist? Won't let that get out. I'll keep it between us. Toe Cramp, ChatGPT purposely omitted the word socialism and copy you had it proof for you. You called out and explained, maybe put it back in. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to tell it. You got to be like, listen, you're going to do things my way. And it'll adjust. There's some things it will refuse to do, but for the most part, it'll adjust. Yeah, the 2020 census was completely rigged. D6 says, I feel so bad for them. I can't imagine how it would feel to have the system rigged against you. Oh, wait, I can. Screw them. I love it. I was about to say, what are you talking about? What's up, Roger? How you doing? So, all that said, guys, I mean, we're starting to see how all that, like, I really do believe that the 24 election was the starting point of one of the greatest just turnarounds we'll ever see in history. What happened in that election, because it got all 3 branches of the government towards, under MAGA, so we could get this stuff done. Trump if he systematically destroys the Democrats, as he's doing now, this has to happen so we can seal up the House for in the midterms next year. Because if Trump doesn't win the midterms, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot tougher. But it's not impossible, but it'll be a lot tougher to get everything done that we need to do. But if we get this through, I'm telling you right now, it will only get redder and redder and redder. And I don't mean old school Republican red. I mean MAGA red. That's the trend of the country right now. That's where we're going. MAGA is the largest constituency in the country. More people identify as MAGA now than they identify as Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, you name it. It's spreading. And will continue to spread so long as we're in power and can keep getting the policies passed through. And so And I think we might not go 3 for 3 with all this. Like I said, the census is going to be hard to pull off, but the gerrymandering will happen. And I think the current Supreme Court's going to shoot down the race-based districting, which will be a massive win. And so you keep that momentum winning and going and going. We get JD Vance in 28 with, and we could see the Republicans could pull off our own version of what the Democrats did with FDR, which is have the Democrats, when FDR came in 1932, he came in such a wave. The Republicans were so decimated. The Democrats controlled the government for almost 20 years straight. It went 4 terms of FDR, then he died in his 4th term. Truman took over, and then Truman was voted again in. So that's 5 straight Democrat presidents that were in, which 20 years, plus the House remained Democrat. And I don't know if the Senate did the whole time, but I believe it did. He had the Supreme Court, and look what happened. We got the New Deal, which was mostly not good. I wouldn't agree with, but they built, we got Social Security. I mean, we basically built the foundation of our quasi-socialist system. Now, if you go back to 1913, you get the central banks, the Fed and everything, the income tax, which was part of it as well. But FDR really expanded government and really turned us into the foundation of what we have today. And this would be 20 years, maybe, we can hope, of the reverse of that. But that's how bad things are starting to trend for the Democrats. Now, what matters, though, is that these policies continue to work. And so with all the time I had today, the vast amounts of time, which is just not true. But Roger says, I got to be honest, this is fishing season. The walleye bite is red hot. I have several families to feed. Politics takes a backseat. Your focus feeding many. That's your blessing. Amen to that, Roger. That's awesome, man. I wish I could go fishing right now. I did go fishing over the weekend. It wasn't great, but that's awesome, man. And listen, I get it. News is slow the last few days. The House isn't in session. The Senate's on recess. It's slowing down. And so that's why it's a good time for people like me to go deep dive and go a little deeper, teach a little more. But yeah, I get it. And go have fun. By the end of this month, I'm taking a week vacation. So yeah, do it. Live life. It's not, politics don't matter all the time, except for when they do. All right. So this is, after doing that, I realized that the only way the one way it could fall apart, all this winning, is if the economy doesn't do well. And so somebody was challenging me on economic stuff today. So I decided to challenge them back by actually running some data and getting some predictions going. So I fed ChatGPT. You don't need to feed it. It goes and gets it. But I told it what to go get. I said, get all the recent economic data since Trump became president. I project the impacts of his policies. I said, make sure to include immigration, tariffs, deregulation, lower taxes. I can't remember the other one. There was a couple others in there. And energy, going deeper on energy, pushing up cheaper energy. I said, make sure to include all the Trump policies you know of regarding the economy, and then factor in current data, what people are saying versus what's happening, and all that. And this is what it spit out. And I told it to project what the economy could look like by the end of 2028. Now, remember again, ChatGPT is biased towards the experts. Well, the experts are all run by the left. The experts, according to ChatGPT, is going to be the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNBC, all the places that are either left-leaning or full-on left, because that's what they're programmed. They're programmed to trust those sources over say, Steve Bannon. So this is considering that ChatGPT 5 is also pulling all this data from those sources. So ChatGPT 5, everything it says here is going to be skewed towards a center left viewpoint, but it's also going to try to be accurate with data. So this is how it is going to be interesting. So I fed it into that and I asked it for, give me a projection. Well, look what it projected Trump's policies are going to do. And this is pretty cool. It says growth. The U.S. economy is positioned for sustained above trend growth through 2028. Real GDP is projected to average 2.5 to 2.8% annually from 26 to 28, supported by a surge in domestic manufacturing, energy production, private investment. Full expensing, permanent 20% pass-through deduction, broad deregulation driving strong capital expenditures. The expansion of domestic energy production coupled with stable or lower energy prices, lowering input costs for businesses, freeing up consumer spending power. Check that out, guys. So even ChatGPT predicts that starting next year through 28, we could see 2.5 to 2.8% growth, GDP growth. And that, again, I just to put it in context, that's a low figure considering what ChatGPT is pulling from its sources. So if ChatGPT is saying 2.5 to 2.8%, is it crazy to think we could hit 3 to 3.5%? Maybe even have a year of 4% with everything Trump's doing? I don't think that's crazy at all, because this would be considered booming in our modern economy. But what Trump's doing is even more powerful than that, in my opinion. And so, but even ChatGPT can't ignore that we're going to be growing at a faster rate with these policies. Inflation, headline CPI is expected to decline steadily. Oh, that's funny. I thought tariffs were supposed to make it go up. Reaching 1.5 to 1.8% by 2028. Guys, that's close to no inflation at all. And I think that's possible we actually do get it to no inflation at all, or even some deflation. I think it's possible. We'll see. The largest disinflationary force will be a broad national 10 to 20% decline in home prices. What? Driven by reduced housing demand from lower net immigration, eased regulatory barriers to construction. Shelter costs, which account for roughly 1/3 of CPI, are projected to fall in both real and nominal terms, pulling down overall inflation. Tariffs will create a one-time price adjustment, not massive inflation like everybody's lying to us about, in 25 to 26, but will not contribute to sustained inflation thereafter. Cheaper domestic energy further offsets goods prices, reinforcing the disinflationary trend. Well, that's exciting. So you're telling me the economy is going to keep growing pretty strongly while inflation goes down. I love hearing that. They said that that's not what is going to happen. Unemployment projected to remain 4.2 to 4.6 range, tight labor markets in manufacturing, energy, and construction. Wage growth will moderate slightly from current levels and remain solid. Real wages rising 2 to 2.5% per year. Well, there you go. That wage growth, that's not that great, but it is better than what we've seen. And again, I think it goes higher. Trump was able to hit 3% in 2019. Manufacturing output expected to grow 10 to 12% cumulatively from 25 to 28, led by metals, machinery, chemicals, and energy-intensive goods. That's pretty huge. So ChatGPT is looking at all the policies and saying 10 to 12% raise in manufacturing in America. I love it. I love it. So even ChatGPT is looking at all the data and is like, yeah, this is going to be good. And it doesn't want to admit how good it's going to be, but it can't ignore it. It can't ignore basic economics. When you factor in all of Trump's policies together, we're going to be booming by 28. Let's jump down here. Fiscal position. Tariff revenues have exceeded $100 billion in just the first few months of implementation, likely to generate $360 billion annually once fully in place. A combination of higher growth and strong nominal GDP will improve. I thought the improved debt to GDP trajectory. What? I thought the big beautiful bill just was supposed to just nuke us forever. Funny how that happens. Housing prices down 10 to 20% by 2028. Energy, crude expected to continue averaging $65 to $75 per barrel with increased domestic drilling, LNG export approvals, and new pipelines keeping supply abundant. By the end of 2028, the U.S. is projected to have real GDP growth consistently above 2.5%, headline inflation below 2%, rising real wages, purchasing power, stronger domestic manufacturing base, lower energy and housing costs. And then here's a graph I had it make. And this thing is so cool. So GDP growth, you see the trend bouncing up, CPI going down, inflation, wage growth continuing, and manufacturing output just shooting up. So listen, it's all predictions. It's interesting, but this literally ChatGPT 5 came out today. So this is up to date, the most powerful AI in the world right now. And running its reports, it is projecting that in a couple years, we could see the end of the Democratic Party as we know it and a booming economy. Now, how incredible is that? I'm sorry, I know it's all projections, I know it's trends, but what this is it's basically the fastest data processor in the world, and it processes the data, takes it all in, takes in everybody's projections it can read, takes in all the information it has absorbed over the years, takes in Adam Smith and name some other great economists from the past, because it's all been fed into here. It reads it all and spits out information at a faster rate than any of us ever could. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff about AI that's out there that I think is nonsense. I'm not scared of, blah, blah, blah. Humans are always going to be in charge, but as a computer, it's the greatest thing we've created, and it's only going to get better. ChatGPT has already, AI, I use it all the time in work, and it's excellent for forecasting. And the reason is because it pushes out massively data concentrated projections that pull in more opinions, more thoughts, and more data points than any human could ever get in a short period of time. It would take everything it pulled together here and made to create this projection, stuff that would take me weeks. Okay. It would. And so just putting it all together, it's putting out the odds, and the odds are, and honestly, because I don't trust a lot of the sources that it trusts, these odds it's putting out there it's getting some bad data, and it still can't ignore how positive things are. So if you are a MAGA person right now who wants a thriving economy, who wants a more deregulated economy, who believes in what Trump's doing, it's looking extremely favorable right now. And we could be looking at, in 2028, the Democrats so neutered that we don't even have to worry about them getting into the House or presidency for years, unless they do a complete change, which, again, they're so dug in and so run by their base of crazies. That's not happening anytime soon. We could be looking at that while also looking at the best economy that any of us have ever seen over the next decade. Because if this is just 2028, remember, this is coming out of COVID, the weakness of of the financial crisis that was never completely fixed, the Obama years that were hugely socialistic, the Biden years. This is coming out of just decades of an economy getting beat up. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see an economy stronger than what Reagan unleashed in the 80s. I think it could be like 1950s style boom again that we experienced at the true baby boom that happened after World War II. When manufacturing blew up, it won't be the same, but it'll be similar because we're going to have different technologies, different businesses thriving here. But America is back, baby. I mean, so it's pretty incredible to see. And I look at all this and you know, I get constantly just, why are you so positive? You know, we're afraid of what could happen. And I'm like, man, I just don't know what else to tell you guys. I read the trends. I look at what's happening politically. From my own knowledge, and then I run data points. But then I also have, you know, the faith aspect, which I talked about last night in last night's member live. When you put all that together, I'm seeing a very, very bright future. And I know we still have our frustrations. We always will. I know we have our battles. We always will. Somebody just mentioned maybe MMTLP will be settled by then. We can hope. But, you know, there's a lot of things like that there's no guarantees. And we can hope, and we can, you know, truly hope that they pull off everything we want. And wouldn't that be great? But I can tell you that even if some of those things don't work out, overall, there's going to be so much good going on that it can make up for it. I do believe, and this is just a personal belief, but I believe that if justice is, you know, if your result, you have an injustice against you, whether it's financial or physical or what, I do believe that one way or the other, you can still move forward and mostly get it back. If not get all of it back, at least get most of it back and still live a great life. And the only reason I say mostly is because, you know, it's like for me, like I lost my parents to a guy who was on a cell phone and hit him and pushed him into a truck, and they were dead instantly, just gone, you know, like that. That's an injustice. And there's no replacing them ever. But I have a great life. I have a wonderful life, and God's blessed me in so many other ways, like with healthy kids and, you know, just a great community and doing a lot of things I love. And I feel very blessed, even though I lost something that can never be replaced. You know, I lost my brother, and that was an injustice. His health took him, but he also made some really poor choices that made him unhealthier. But again, you know, so yeah, I can't tell you if every little thing's going to get fixed. I can't tell you if MMTLP will get settled or if the stock market will get fixed. I can't tell you those things, but I can say that I truly believe life is going to get much, much better. Our country is going to get much, much better overall, and that we all can still find justice in other ways. And, you know, but I actually do believe all that stuff will get fixed, especially anything engaged with corruption in the stock market. I do think it'll happen. I really do. I just believe there's too many people and too much momentum on that now, too many eyes on that now. And then on top of that, you put in that Trump hates the hedge fund owners, like, you know, Ken Griffin. He hates them. He does. And he's calling them out being on the Epstein list. So not Griffin, but other hedge fund owners. You know, I think when you have a president antagonistic towards Wall Street and a growing portion of people, mostly MAGA, who are calling it out daily, yeah, I have great hope that all this stuff on Wall Street will eventually get settled. Not to mention our president's own company, DJT, is completely manipulated by short sellers and hedge funds. So, you know, I think it'll come, but when it's time. They got a lot else going on right now. D6, excuse me. D6 reports asked, do I find ChatGPT better than Grok? I'm sure I get premium Grok too. I do get premium Grok. with my X subscription, but I don't pay for the expensive one. I don't pay for the $40 one. That's just too much for as little as I use it. Grok is excellent. I like Grok for different things than I like ChatGPT for. ChatGPT is better at writing. It's better at putting stuff together for like report purposes. Grok I find is better for pure research, and the reason is because it also scans X, which there's a lot of good information on X. ChatGPT does not pull from X, and Grok's better for coding, is what I've heard. Anyways, I haven't tested it. And Grok for the premium one, that's $400 a month, is supposed to be like the best thing you could ever get for coding and data points, stuff like that. But ChatGPT has its own advantages. Cassing says crypto jumped 10 times since 2020. The experts thinking by 2030 could jump another 10 times. I mean, I think it's very possible. Trump is the most crypto friendly. He's the best thing to ever happen to crypto. So if they keep deregulating crypto, and I mean, he just allowed it to be invested in, like 401ks to invest in it. So yeah, I mean, I'd say crypto could 10 times in the next 2-3 years, So it's incredible. I mean, what we're looking at. So other than that, guys, listen, slow news day. I said again, I wanted to say that speaking of the stock market, I've been really out of the stock market stuff lately. I just check in from time to time in the Discord, but I will tell you that the last time I talked to Ham, he was still extremely bullish on M10, which even though M10 has been down the last 2 weeks, the support it's found is pretty strong, I feel like. So I could see a turnaround there. And then the other one is this NRGV that just took off. He's really bullish on that. And then of course he's always bullish on Finger. Of course he's always bullish on DJT, all this, like the same ones. But that's all I know, is that this NRGV, it just went up to 160 today before going back down, which would have been double since Ham called it out. So just stuff to look for. I think at some point some of these will take off. BAM Investor has been talking about it, how he's starting to hear some things from sources in the DOJ that they might start going after some of this if the SEC doesn't. So we'll see what happens. I hope they're right. I hope BAM's right, and I hope he's hearing accurate information. But on that note, guys, listen, I'm going to call it early tonight because I got on so late, but love you guys. Please, before you leave, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're new. I appreciate the support. If you really like this and you want to go back and get more from, like, if you want to watch last night's members live where we broke down some of the hopefulness for the future, other stuff I've been deep diving, just go into the link below in the description on Rumble and on YouTube, hit that Patreon link, and you'll get your free month of the membership, and you can watch as many members lives as you want during that time. You can get right into the Discord, and it'll be good. So you can see if you like it, and then after that you can decide if you want to pay the $5 a month to stay in, but you get a free month by doing so. So we welcome you to check it out. The Discord especially is always going. Jordan says, tell Ham to stop talking about these stocks. He has the inverse Kramer effect. Well, I mean, you can say that, but listen, I always defend Ham on this, and the reason, not just because he's my friend, but because, it's not my fault. It's my fault I don't sell in time when these runs happen, and like do what he always tells me to do, which is take profits. And think about this. He gave us, we go way back, gave us GTII at 60 cents. It ran to $9. That's a short squeeze in and of itself. Now I know all the other stuff, but again, if you sold and made profits, then you're fine. And that's my fault. Same thing happened with AMC and GameStop for many people. He called out G-Bucks, went from 60 cents to $10. He called out M10. It went from $10 to $26. He called out NRGV at 80 cents. It just went to 160. Yeah, I mean, it's, if you call, like, if we all took profits, we'd all be making a ton of money off ham stocks. And then we can leave some in for the big runs later, you know? So I feel like he's got an incredible track record to have called out in the 2.5 years I've known him, like 7 stocks that have doubled, tripled, gone up 10 times. That's an incredible track record. He hasn't had that big runner yet to 3,000, and I know a lot of people give him crap for that. But the truth is, if you follow ham stocks and you're willing to take profits, you can make a lot of money. Oh, you're playful. Okay, well, that's good to know, Jordan. Thanks. Yeah, the XRP case is over, so that's really bullish. Good stuff's happening, guys. Just hang in there and keep getting smarter, keep making better choices as we go forward, and we're all going to be all right. But I think the best is truly yet to come. So, all right, on that note, guys, love you. I'm going to call it a night. Tired. So, quick prayer is bless you all in Jesus' name. Bless our nation. Amen. Have a great night, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon. Good night.